Stalker here. So today I thought I'd talk about something that happened to me when I was racing my 87 spec Honda 250 GP bike. And it's not something that many racers experience, and thankfully so. But when they do, it's probably one of the most terrifying things they can encounter. And that is a brake failure. So, a little bit of back history here. When the 87 Honda was built, it was built for a set price that Honda had actually asked the racers and the various teams how much they thought a new 250 should cost. And the racers told them, and Honda basically built the bike to that spec. Now, unfortunately, because the price was so low, they had to alter the way they would normally manufacture various components in the bike. And because of that, they had some issues. The cranks were not balanced as well as they should have been, and the engine cases themselves were structurally a little bit on the light side. So what would actually happen is you would actually get a harmonic balance vibration that would come from the crank, transmit through the engine, transmit through the chassis of the bike, and believe it or not, it actually would vibrate, causing your front brake pads to move away from the rotors. Well, on a GP bike, when you grab the brakes, you expect instant brakes, because you are literally braking at the last minute. And literally what happened was, I was at Shannonville Motorsport Park running a long track, which my bike would get up in excess of about 120 miles an hour, I believe it was. And you get to the end and you're going to get on your brakes, and you're going to take that corner at somewhere between 60 to 80 miles an hour, depending on how fast you're riding. And it looks like I'm stopping here, so I shall continue to this in a moment. Okay, back to where I was. Okay, so when you're hitting your braking point, you're actually at the limit of how hard you can brake and where you can brake. That's what racing's all about. So if you squeeze your lever and you have no brakes, you just ran out of the racetrack. So the first time this happened to me, I was actually running really, really well. Was running, in the top 5, gaining on people, and I got to my braking point and I pulled the lever in, and I had nothing, and I literally mean nothing. So I instantly let off, like released the lever, squeezed it again. I had some brakes, let it off, squeezed it again. Okay, and now I had brakes, and I was now past my braking point. Now the lucky thing is, at this particular track, the back straightaway is actually a drag strip, and we run the opposite direction of the drag strip. So I was actually able to go straight down the start of the drag strip, basically the concrete section where the drag is launched from. And I literally used up the entire section. I got my bike slowed down enough, maybe 30-40 feet from the concrete wall, and yes, it was a concrete block wall. There was a return road there which would let me get back on the track, and I immediately got back on the track, and now I knew I had a brake problem, but it wasn't a brake problem in the sense that it was, my brakes weren't working, it's just the pads were moving out. So I then proceeded to rejoin the race, probably at the back of the grid, probably in 25th, 30th spot, I don't know. But I knew exactly what to do. So the next lap, when I was coming down the straightaway, as I was going down the straightaway, getting on the brakes, driving down the straightaways, I was actually gently pumping the brakes to make sure my brake pads were where they were. And that was actually working really well. Now, I was starting to make spots up again. But then, what was happening, I was actually driving a lot faster and a lot harder in other straightaways and corners. Thought we had a road here. No, that's a track. Never mind. Just trying to find the road. So, anyways, oh, there it is. Oh well, next road. Yeah. So, anyways, I was now spinning the bike a lot harder on the shorter straightaways, and I was braking a lot deeper in these things to make up for the fact that I knew on the main straightaway I was going to run out of brakes. And this was actually going pretty good, but what I didn't realize was that by revving the bike harder and pushing harder, I was actually causing brake problems to appear on short straightaways. So what happened was the straightaway between turn 1 and turn 2, I ran out of brakes and I ran off the track and got back on again. And then it happened to me again, like it happened about 5 or 6 spots down the track. We were racing the long track, which has got like 15 corners and whatnot, and I ran out of brakes on probably 4 or 5 of them, and basically ran off the track or ran stupid wide and got back on. So by the time the race was over, I think I was around 15th or 17th, something like that. So ridiculously far down in the results. But you know, I didn't crash, but it probably, I'd say, took 5 years off my life, you know, for that many near misses. And it is, without a doubt, the absolute worst feeling you ever want to have. You know, if it'd been early in my racing career, I probably would have crashed the first time this happened, or the second. So anyways, I got back, and on Monday I phoned Honda and told him what had happened, and he was very apologetic, and Honda was actually bending over backwards to try to fix these bikes, because they knew they had basically built a lemon, but they were trying everything they could to make these things reliable and competitive. And what happened was I ended up getting a new crank, 2 new cylinders and pistons, and a set of new brake seals for the brake calipers that apparently were a smaller diameter. So what they actually were, they would actually grip the pucks in the brake calipers harder, so they'd be less likely to try to flow back out and cause you having brake issues. And the braking problem was actually a pretty consistent issue with the Hondas. And eventually what happened was they couldn't really fix it as far as they were concerned. So I ended up getting a complete engine, because they knew that a new engine would basically solve all the problems. So I actually turned out to be a factory 88 engine, which was like 89 spec, or 90, I can't remember exactly the thing, but that'll be a different story. But because of all of that, and the season ended, I actually ordered up a set of Brembo 4-piston brake calipers, and that was what really completely solved it and gave me the confidence in my bike. And the funny part was the 2 Brembo calipers with brake pads installed weighed less than one of the Shoei calipers that were on my bike with no brake pads installed. They actually made my bike probably 0.09 of a kilometer faster just because I put the Brembo brake calipers on it. So anyways, that was my probably the biggest non-crashing scare of my life. Hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you later. Just knock her out.